Hi everyone, my name is Amanda and I'm a health coach and personal trainer. Before I get going with my talk, I'd just like to give a big thank you to Rachel McGinn for setting up this event and giving me this opportunity to talk. So my topic is healthy habits for a happy gut. It's thought that Hippocrates said that all disease begins in the gut. This may not be completely true, but it is true that our gut health impacts on all our other body systems. So it makes sense that we pay attention to our gut health and how we can support it. So I'm going to be talking and looking at some simple ways we can support our gut health. I will not only be looking at foods that we can eat, but also how we can clean up, spring clean the way we eat. So gut health is a massive subject. There's loads of exciting research going on at the moment in this area. It's improving our understanding of the links between the gut and other parts of our body, the immune system and the brain. Really, really fascinating stuff. So a good thing to point out at this stage is that as a health coach, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, I cannot prescribe or diagnose. My focus is on lifestyle habit change and how we can reduce our risk of developing a chronic disease such as diabetes, heart disease, dementia. I work with my clients on maybe gut health, but also on things like sleep and stress, which we will be touching on today. I don't know whether you've heard of Dr. Chatterjee. I definitely recommend his books and his podcast. He's been on TV. I think he even has a BBC Radio 2 show now. But he said recently that about 80% of what he sees in his GP surgery is in some way related to our collective modern lifestyles. Most of his patients don't need pills, but would benefit far more from help in making small, sustainable changes to their lifestyle. He's a big fan of health coaches as well. So where to start? I'm going to be focusing on positive things we can do to support our gut health, as opposed to saying what we shouldn't be doing. I just think it's a much more positive way of looking at things, what we can add in, what we can add into our diet and what we can add in terms of lifestyle habit change. First of all, I'd like to talk about water. So your body maintains a finely tuned balance by absorbing more water from your gut if you get a little dehydrated. This hardens the contents of your bowels, which in turn causes a slow gut transit time and constipation. I'm sure we have all experienced this, for example, when we travel. We try not to drink too much because we don't want to be trying to find a loo all the time. But the next day we perhaps experience some constipation or some gut discomfort. So good hydration, I should say, ensures a healthy evacuation. We should be drinking very, very approximately 2 litres of water a day. So a 60-kilo woman, 2 litres of water, that works out at something like 33 mils of water per kilo of body weight. This will vary, of course, according to the weather, how active you are, even whether you've got your central heating on, which can lead to dehydration. Just listen to your body, tune in. And remember, it's not just your gut that needs water. All our body systems do, especially our brains. So, how can we help ourselves drink more water? If you don't drink much water at the moment, try increasing your consumption gradually. So an extra glass a day will make a difference. Try an extra glass a day for a week, and then the following week, another glass. If you've got a 500 ml water bottle, put 4 rubber bands on it in the morning, and every time you drink one, take a rubber band off. And so, you get to lunchtime, and if you haven't taken a band off yet, then you need to perhaps drink a bit more water. It's a great reminder. Another thing you can do is put a reminder on your phone, or put some sticky notes up in your kitchen or on your desk, just reminding you to drink water. Some people find habit stacking works for them. For example, my husband says that by leaving his glass by the coffee machine when he goes to make a cup of coffee, it triggers his new habit to drink a glass of water while the coffee's being made. So he's stacking his new habit on top of his existing coffee habit. Another thing that I like doing is drinking 2 glasses of warm water first thing in the morning. This has actually been a bit of a revelation for me, and I find it sets me up for the day in terms of water drinking. So I add boiled water to maybe a little bit, half and half of boiled water and cold water with a slice of lemon. And I find I can drink it down really quickly. And warm watering, the benefit of warm water is that it has a slightly more hydrating effect. The body absorbs warm water more quickly than cold water. And we do tend to be dehydrated in the morning. So this is a win-win in the sense that it rehydrates you and it kickstarts your digestive system. So the second thing we can do to support our gut health is to eat a Mediterranean-style diet. So this is a diet that's rich in vegetables, fruit, whole grains, legumes, nuts, seeds, fish, and healthy fats. We like to call this type of diet, it's a plant-centric diet, but we like to call it a Mediterranean-style diet. But there are, in fact, significant similarities with other traditional diets. For example, in Korea and Japan, where the diets are based mainly on vegetables, fish, grains, and fermented foods. So why is a Mediterranean-style diet so good for our health? Well, as I just said, it's a plant-centric diet. It's full of fiber. You're aiming for, broadly speaking, about 40% of your plate, your daily plate, to be vegetables, 10% fruit, 10% whole grains, and the rest is made up of proteins and healthy fats. So a diet full of fiber is associated with an increased diversity of gut microbiota. So the more diverse your diet, the more diverse those good bacteria in your gut are. You've probably heard of the expression, eat the rainbow. Try to eat a different color fruit and vegetables every day. Mix it up. Try some new vegetables. Ideally, we eat about 30 different phytonutrients every week. So phytonutrients are the things that grow in the ground. So they're your veg, fruit, nuts, seeds, and not forgetting herbs and spices, as well as all the different pulses we can eat. So fiber has the advantage of keeping us fuller for longer as well. Keeps us fuller without adding empty calories. So a Mediterranean diet also includes lots of prebiotics, which provide food for the good bacteria in our gut. So prebiotics are a class of nutrients called oligosaccharides, which are a type of fiber, and they pass through the upper or first part of the gut undigested and stimulate the growth of microbes further down in our intestines. So one of the types of prebiotic fiber called inulin, when broken down by our gut microbes, releases a compound called butyric acid. And this is thought to be particularly important in gut health, as it is anti-inflammatory and helps build up the gut defense barrier and decrease oxidative stress. So prebiotic foods include things like asparagus, onions and garlic and leeks, underripe bananas, endive, chicory, and all the pulses. So there are quite a few foods. If you're eating a diverse diet, then you're invariably going to get prebiotics into your diet. Probiotics also are great for our gut health. So probiotics are live microorganisms which, when consumed in adequate amounts, confer a positive health effect on the host. You can take probiotics in the form of supplements, but it's worth bearing in mind that the probiotic industry is not regulated. So there are a lot of very poor quality products out there. I would suggest if you're worried about your gut health, that you see a professional, a nutritionist, for example, before spending loads of money on supplements. for most people, a plant-centric diet like the Mediterranean style diet will provide enough for you. And you can eat specifically probiotic foods through fermented dairy products such as BioLive plain yogurt, kefir, and aged cheese. Non-dairy fermented products include kimchi, sauerkraut, miso, and tempeh, which is made from fermented soybeans. Personally, I find kefir, yogurt, and sauerkraut I can quite easily make at home. It's not particularly time-consuming or complicated. If you aren't used to eating foods like this, go easy when starting to, as they can have a fairly strong impact on your gut, but maybe not in quite the way you want it to. So start small, probably fine with yogurt, but maybe with something like sauerkraut, just start with a couple of spoonfuls a day. So what sort of healthy habits can we put in place to help us eat a Mediterranean style diet, a plant-centric diet? First of all, you can plan your meals and write shopping lists. Secondly, keep tins of beans, chickpeas, and lentils in your cupboard. These are cheap store cupboard ingredients, are brilliant sources of both fiber and protein. Third, you can order a vegetable box. I love my veg box from Riverford. It ensures I have a good supply of organic veg for the week. It often means I eat veg I might not otherwise. And I get to try something new sometimes, or I try and cook it in a different way. I add in some different herbs or spices. Also, you can try putting a chart up on your wall, a rainbow chart up on your wall. Good thing to do with kids. So write on it all the different vegetables and fruits you've eaten under each different color. So, your aubergines under purple, etc., and red peppers under red. A little more challenging than a rainbow chart is to put up a weekly chart and identify how many phytonutrients you eat each day. So list the different ones you eat, and each day mark down what you've eaten different from the day before. This will help you increase your diversity rather than sticking to the same vegetables day in, day out, week in, week out, because variety is really important. Okay, yeah, and I mentioned Riverford. Riverford also have some great recipes on their site if you're ever stuck for ideas. Absolutely brilliant. And not just plant-based, but also meat and fish and everything. But that if you're short of ideas, Riverford is a great resource. Also, if you're interested in the food plate I referred to earlier, the Alliance for Natural Health have some excellent free resources. And their food plates are a really good guide for what we're aiming for. Okay, so I could talk about food a lot more. It's a big subject. But something we need to do to manage our, or support our gut health, is to manage our stress. This is because stress impacts on our gut health. Stress, particularly acute stress, triggers raised cortisol and activates the amygdala, which in turn triggers feelings of anxiety and fear and the urge to empty our bowels. You may well, remember that feeling before you went into an important exam, that your stomach would just feel dreadful, or just even the sensation of butterflies. So this is stress impacting on our gut. So if you're in a particularly stressful situation, often you just don't want to eat. Stress is triggering the sympathetic nervous system, which puts us into the fight or flight response, and that shuts down our digestion. That can be really handy sometimes, but if we're experiencing chronic stress, not so handy. Just give you an example of how stress can impact on your gut via the gut-brain axis. So, for example, if you broke up with your boyfriend over a meal in a restaurant, then returning to that restaurant with someone else can trigger a response in your gut. Even eating the same food as you were eating at the time of the breakup, this is assuming the breakup was stressful, not something you necessarily wanted, even eating that same food can trigger a response. Chronic distress, can affect the way we respond to a meal and eating. So we might experience after the meal some indigestion or maybe gas, bloating. Less observable, we might be experiencing poor nutrient absorption or inflammation, which can lead to something called leaky gut, which you may have heard about. So what can we do to manage our stress? Checking in with yourself before you eat is really useful. Just asking yourself, am I stressed? How stressed am I? Maybe on a scale of 1 to 5. If you're scoring high, then identify why you're feeling stressed. And I find getting people to write this down, maybe journaling, but just writing it down, identifying why you feel stressed. Is it in your control? If so, what can you do about it? Just acknowledging and identifying the stress can really help. If you still feel stressed, take a moment to do a breathing exercise. I particularly like the 5-finger breathing exercise. It's a nice thing to do with children as well, just to get them to calm down before eating. I'm just going to quickly demonstrate this now. I'm conscious of time, so I don't want to be too long. So you just literally breathe in, pause at the top, breathe out, breathe in, pause at the top and breathe out. And we're trying to make the exhale longer than the inhale, because that sends the calming messages to the brain. So if you're feeling a little bit stressed, I suggest you do that or any other breathing exercise that you're familiar with before eating. Obviously, other ways you can manage your stress, things like meditating, mindfulness, yoga, being outside, any type of self-care, self-compassion can all help you manage stress. But just be conscious of how the stress impacts on your digestion, and that if you are experiencing something like bloating, then maybe taking a look at the stress in your life is a good idea. So something else we can do, related in some ways to stress, is to slow down. Our digestion needs time to work properly. The more relaxed we are when eating, the more we activate the rest and digest state of our nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system. So slowing down and actually giving ourselves time and permission to enjoy our food is really important. Food is about being enjoyed, and it's about sharing. We should be taking pleasure from our food. So try to set aside at least 10 minutes for a small meal and 20 minutes for your main meal. Try to eat at a table. A sitting upright is much better for our digestion. Try lifting your rib cage, depending where you're sitting at the moment, so that you can increase the gap between your hip bone and your bottom rib. You can't see me now at that bit of my body, I don't think. But so just lift your rib cage, and you automatically improve your posture, and your digestion will be better, because if you're slouched on a sofa, everything is doubled up, your digestion is going to struggle. So remaining mindful around eating, so trying not to be too distracted by a phone or watching the TV is also useful. The whole meal experience, right through from food preparation to cooking, smelling the food, tasting the food, and appreciating it is really important, and will improve your digestive response to a meal. The digestive process takes place, almost before you put anything in your mouth. The sense of smell, the vision of the food starts the digestive enzymes in our mouth to get going. It's also worth bearing in mind that it takes about 20 minutes for our stomach to send signals to the brain via the vagus nerve that we are actually full. So slowing down can help us to not overeat and not get to that stage where we feel stuffed and uncomfortable. So in that sense, it can improve our digestion, but it can also help with weight loss. So because we're honoring our fullness and probably only eating to about 80% full instead of completely stuffed. Slowing down and leaving a gap of around 4.5, maybe 5 hours between meals can also help with digestive discomfort, especially bloating. So a few tips to help you slow down include chewing your food. So obviously this depends on what you're eating. Scrambled eggs, quite hard to chew for any length of time. But if you're eating an apple or some vegetables or whatever, you should be able to chew each mouthful at least 20 times and maybe more. Aim for 40 if you can. So this slows you down, but as I mentioned earlier, also triggers the digestive process with digestive enzymes being released in your mouth. Put your cutlery down between mouthfuls and breathe. Take a sip of water. Have a talk, have a chat with whoever you're eating with. Share your views on the food, or so just take a moment between mouthfuls. Try timing your meals. I mean, this isn't something you're going to want to do all the time, but every now and then. Or putting up a sticky note again, reminding yourself to slow down. Engage the support, get your family to help. I know I'm a fast eater, and this is something I've been working on for a long time. And my husband will tell me, "Oh, wow, you ate quickly," and remind me that I'm eating too quickly. My problem is that I don't like eating my food when it's cold. I like it hot. So I hope this has given you a few ideas on how to support your gut health. As I say, it's a big problem. And if you are experiencing gut problems, digestive issues, or discomfort, then please get in touch with your doctor or nutritionist who specializes in gut health and get yourself checked out. To finish up, I'm just going to talk you through even a recipe for a smoothie. I call it my gut healthy and mood boosting smoothie, which you can turn into a smoothie bowl by adding in oats at the end. So you need 1 tablespoon of flax seeds, 1 tablespoon of pumpkin seeds, 1 tablespoon of sunflower seeds, a tablespoon of cocoa nibs or cocoa powder, a large handful of spinach or kale, preferably washed, and then some nuts. I tend to put in a mix of nuts, so you get Brazil nuts, maybe 1 or 2 Brazil nuts, some walnut halves, around 6, maybe 5 almonds, half a cup of blueberries, or you can use frozen berries, and around 1/3 of a cup of kefir, which is fermented whole milk, or some natural live yogurt instead. And then top it up, bung it all in the blender with enough milk of your choice to reach the consistency you like. So I haven't given exact amounts because some of us like it thicker or thinner. So if you want to turn it into a smoothie bowl, you can keep the mixture thick and then stir in some oats and decorate it with some more berries. So that makes enough for maybe 2 people, or for 1 person, maybe as a breakfast after post-workout breakfast. I know I can drink or eat it all. So just a quick comment on some of the ingredients I've mentioned. So flax seeds are absolutely loaded with nutrients. They provide great fiber, protein, and are rich in omega-3s. So, and pumpkin and sunflower seeds, again, full of fiber, healthy fats, antioxidants, magnesium and zinc. So they're also a great source of tryptophan, which helps to make both melatonin and serotonin. Melatonin helps with sleep, helps with the sleep-wake cycle, and serotonin is thought to be vital for a variety of metabolic functions that affect our mood, cognition, and behavior. So cacao is a rich source of polyphenols and is abundant in flavonols, which have a potent antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects. Some studies have also shown that the flavonols in cacao improve brain function by increasing blood flow to the brain. So good thing to have first thing in the morning. Brazil nuts, really nutritious and energy dense, rich in healthy fats and selenium. It's generally thought that 1 to 2 nuts a day is enough to provide all the selenium we need. They're also high in magnesium, copper, and zinc. Selenium actually supports our thyroid function, and our thyroid regulates our body temperature and our metabolism. So that can be quite useful, in terms of weight loss, if we're lacking in selenium. Walnuts are another good source of omega-3 fats and fiber, so good for the beneficial bacteria that live in our guts. Almonds are also an excellent source of fiber, loaded with antioxidants. Try and eat the almonds that are in their skin, so they're brown. They're also high in vitamin E, which is important for our brain health. Green leafy veg, good for us, aren't they? It's high in fiber, loads of vitamins, not least folate or vitamin B9. And berries are also a good source of fiber. They also contain flavonols, which new research has shown that the flavonoids in dark-skinned berries promote adult hippocampal neurogenesis, which is the process of growing new brain cells in the hippocampus. So another reason to add berries to your smoothie. And then, of course, kefir, natural yogurt, provides probiotics, which I talked about earlier, and is a source of protein. So that's my smoothie. Hopefully I'll be able to, in the question and answers session or in the notes, I'll be able to perhaps put the recipe. If not, you'll be able to get it from me via one of my social media channels, which will all be available to you. Anyway, so just that's me today, and so just want to say thank you for listening, and enjoy the rest of the talks. Thank you. Bye.